Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rudy McLennan, coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. Family members of prisoners currently on death row in Bahrain welcomed Pope Francis's remarks, in which he stressed the importance of the right to life. He underlined the need to guarantee that right always, including for those being punished. The Holy Father made another appeal on behalf of prisoners on his penultimate day in the Gulf country, one day after numerous relatives of inmates on death row were detained. He thanked those who care for them and stated that how they are treated is a reflection of society as a whole. Pope Francis said, caring for prisoners is good for everyone as a human community, since how these least ones are treated is a measure of the dignity and the hope of society. On the flight to Rome, Pope Francis discussed with journalists a variety of issues ranging from Ukraine to the numerous wars going on in the world. He spoke about his friendship with Al-Azhar's Grand Imam Ahmed al-Tayyab and issues related to migrants and child abuse. The Holy Father said the ideas put forward by the Grand Imam were in the direction of unity within Islam, respecting nuances and differences and closer ties with Christianity and other religions. He said to enter into an interreligious dialogue or ecumenical dialogue, one needs to preserve one's identity. The Holy Father described the 4-day visit to the Gulf nation as a journey of encounter. Upon his arrival in Rome, the Holy Father visited the Basilica of St. Mary Major to thank the Blessed Virgin Mary for her maternal protection during his Bahrain visit. Pope Francis discussed the struggle for women's equality during a press conference on board the papal flight to Rome on Sunday. According to the pontiff, women are a gift to society. He added that as long as there are nations where women are not treated equally, the fight for their fundamental rights will never end. When asked if he supports the struggle of Iranian women and youth for more freedom, Pope Francis responded in the affirmative. The Holy Father stated, "We have to tell the truth. The fight for women's rights is a constant fight because in certain places women are equal to men, but they are not in other places." During the press meeting, he also referred to female genital mutilation as illegal and questioned why it was still practiced in some countries. He appreciated the distinctive problem-solving style that women have, saying that it is not inferior, but complementary. He also urged both sexes to cooperate for the greater good. The Pope said, man is to treat women as his flesh, and all women's rights stem from this equality. The Most Reverend Giovanni Arana, the Secretary-General of the Bolivian Episcopal Conference, appealed to the government to assume its responsibilities and seek solutions to the conflicts that afflict the Bolivian people by restoring peace. He also asked the authorities to provide an urgent response to the people's demands. In a statement titled, "We are Bolivians," the bishops recalled the alarming escalation of violence which is taking place in the country. The bishops quoted Pope Francis's assertion that love builds bridges from the encyclical Fratelli Tutti. They restated the possibility of deadly and irreversible effects for the nation from the current violence. They also said that the government has a responsibility to uphold the dignity of every Bolivian, safeguard their human rights, and address social issues. The bishops underlined that the best approach to address disputes that affect everyone is through dialogue, without ulterior motives or special interests. Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle, prefect of the Dicastery for Evangelization of Peoples, said the papal visit to Bahrain was a big encouragement for the Christians in the Persian Gulf nation. In an interview with Vatican media, the cardinal said that the visit was a pilgrimage, offering his reflections on the legacy and influence of Pope Francis's apostolic visit. The cardinal spoke regarding the importance of interreligious dialogue and the affirmation of Catholics in the Muslim-majority country. The Pope's entourage included Cardinal Tagle, other cardinals and bishops during his 4-day visit. The prelate said the Pope also discussed ecumenism, the need to end differences, and how the Catholic Church's institutions in this country are being accessible to people of other faiths. In what seems to be an act of oppression against anti-government protesters, Iranian lawmakers have urged the country's judiciary to deal decisively with all those involved in the agitations against the draconian laws based on Islamic jurisprudence. Reuters cited Iranian state media as saying that 227 members of the 290-seat Conservative parliament demanded the court take immediate action against those who took part in the riots and those who incited the agitations. Protests broke out against the government in September after the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini, a young Kurdish Iranian woman in police custody. She was arrested for improperly wearing the hijab. As per the latest data, the death toll from the crackdown is 304, including 41 children and 24 women. In Nigeria, the 21 children kidnapped by armed militants from Katsina State were released on Saturday, November the 5th. Police have confirmed the release and reported that the children are reunited with their families. Parents of 3 of the hostages, who requested anonymity, told Reuters that they gave a ransom of 1.5 million nairas, that's around $3,500, to the abductors to free the children aged 8 to 14. However, police spokesman Gambo Issa denied that a ransom had been paid. According to the parents, 30 children were abducted while working on a farm. Nigeria has been struggling with internal security issues for nearly a decade. In recent years, abduction for ransom has become an order of the day in the native state of President Muhammadu Buhari, as roving armed men kidnap individuals from schools, hospitals, roadways and farms. After the huge popularity of the Bible in a Year podcast, the pioneers of the same have shared their hopes for the new Catechism in a Year podcast. It is set to commence on January the 1st of next year. During a press conference last week, Father Mike Schmitz, host of the popular Bible in a Year, and Jeff Cavins, a Catholic author and producer of the programme, The Bible Timeline, The Story of Salvation, shared their thoughts on the upcoming podcast and how it could influence the lives of faithful and non-Catholics. Father Schmitz expressed hope that podcast listeners will not only grow in information, but undergo a real transformation. The Catechism in a Year podcast will have daily episodes, like the Bible in a Year podcast, but they will be shorter, between 15 and 20 minutes, rather than the 30 to 45 minutes Bible in a Year episodes. The Democratic Republic of the Congo and Rwanda are at odds, with Kinshasa accusing Kigali of interference in the eastern region. Following this, DRC President Felix Tshisekedi has urged the youth to mobilise to face the rebels who he said receive Rwanda's support. The Congolese army has also called the youth to fight the M23 rebels, who are gaining ground in the eastern territory of the Central African country. The president urged mobilisation and lamented that the numerous diplomatic efforts to reduce tensions ended in meaningless results. M23 signed a peace deal with the Kinshasa government in 2013, but they have recently taken up arms once again. The Democratic Forces for the Liberation of Rwanda and a coalition of Congolese militias have been fighting the M23 rebels. Pontifical Charity Aid to the Church in Need is observing the International Red Week campaign from November the 16th to the 23rd to raise awareness about religious freedom and Christian persecution. The campaign will be reminding people all over the globe about the troubles faced by persecuted Christians and the lack of religious freedom in many countries during November. It will be done by illuminating the buildings and landmarks in several countries in red light. It will also comprise a series of special initiatives, prayer actions and testimonies by witnesses of Christian communities who are undergoing suppression. A Tanzanian passenger plane crashed into Lake Victoria, the largest lake in Africa, killing at least 19 people on Sunday. The incident took place while the aircraft was trying to land at a nearby airport. The State Tanzania Broadcasting Corporation said that the tragedy took place as Precision Air Flight PW494 was trying to land at the nearby Bukoba airport. Unfortunately, it hit the water during a storm and heavy rain. Rescuers in boats rushed to the spot to pull out the trapped passengers as the plane was almost fully submerged. The plane carrying 39 passengers along with 4 crew members left the commercial capital Dar es Salaam at 4:53 a.m. local time. Investigations are ongoing to determine the cause of the accident. The Christian Association of Nigeria on Friday held a national prayer for the safety issues facing the country and for conducting the upcoming general election peacefully. After the prayer in Abuja, the group's president, Archbishop Daniel Oko, said as Christians are people of prayer and that the country is preparing for an election in 2023, what the faithful could do is come together and pray. He also added that it was important to pray for those people who create fear in the minds of the people. He said, "Pray to prevent it, though we do not know where they are. God knows where they will be if there are any such people." And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow for more. And do remember, you can also visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.